Hello, I am Atul Kaluskar, founder of AoneS Labs. At AoneS Labs, over the last 4 years, we are developing a very unique, make in India, cost-effective surgical smoke evacuation device. But the objective of this session is not to tell you about the device which AoneS Labs have made, but the hazards of surgical smoke. Surgical smoke is produced by the thermal destruction of tissues by use of lasers or electrosurgical devices. Chemicals found in surgical smoke, let's say during a laparoscopic cholecystectomy, are absorbed by the patient and exerted through the kidneys. This results in circulation of potentially carcinogenic, toxic and mutagenic chemicals through the bloodstream before being filtered out in the kidneys. The smoke clouds the surgical field, fogs the lens, and makes the operative more difficult and less effective and also unsafe. A very good article by Dr. Benson, written in 2019, says that surgical smoke contains 3 types of hazards. Number 1 is physical, second is chemical, and the third is biological. So let's say what is all the 3 types of hazards are. A physical hazard, that is particulates, those are found in all types of smokes, whether it is burning leaves, or a wood, or a part of a tree, or a surgical smoke. These particles range from 0.01 micron to greater than 200 micron in size. Needless to say, smaller the particles, more the concern to the surgical staff. The particulates of 0.3 micron and smaller bypass the respiratory system and enter alveoli, where we rely on macrophage action to remove the hazard. So these physical components damage the respiratory tract. Chemicals. There are a lot of articles written about the chemicals found in surgical smoke. So there are about over 100 types of different chemicals found in surgical smoke, like benzene, toluene, formaldehyde. These chemicals are carcinogenic, that is having potential to cause cancer, mutagenic, that is they can change the DNA. In short, they are very toxic. And the third component is biological component. So there are several cases of HPV transmission to surgical personnel from surgical smoke. But the smoke also has been shown to contain HBP, HIV, and etc. Surgical smoke has also been suspected of transferring cancer cells. So oncosurgeons are more susceptible for this. In recent times, the probability of coronavirus passing through the smoke and infecting surgeons, anesthetists, and operation theatre team is extremely high. Though the effect of corona is not proven, whether it will affect OR team or not, but again, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Therefore, surgical smoke is a term used for several gaseous byproducts produced by energy-based surgical instruments. It is also known as plume, cautery smoke, cautery plume, dithermy plume, smoke plume. Most of these terms are often used interchangeably. However, the term smoke, although is not formally correct in all cases, is used to describe these surgically generated gaseous byproducts which are hazardous to the OR or OT team. Let's see the risk of surgical smoke. So various scholarly articles, including Dr. Liu, state that exposure of 1 gram of tissue is equivalent to smoking 3 to 6 cigarettes. Based on interaction of various surgeons and internationally, a lot of scholarly articles says that a surgeon in the developed country is exposed to smoking 27 to 30 cigarettes per day. Now, all this research primarily has been undertaken in the developed countries. While there is another research which states that typical Indian surgeon performs 2 times more surgeries than his counterpart in the developed countries. Now, if we'll try to extrapolate these two rationale, so it may contemplate that an average Indian surgeon is exposed to 60 or more cigarettes a day. This is the deadly effect on the surgeon and his team. The second immediate problem of the surgical smoke, naturally every surgeon is witnessing that, facing that day in and day out, like watery eyes, cough, burning throat, nausea, offensive odor absorbed in the hair, drowsiness, dizziness, sneezing, etc. Surgical smoke have been demonstrated to harbor contagious viable malignant cells and even to contain live bacteria and viruses. Smoke may induce acute and chronic inflammatory changes in the body. Chemical compounds found in smoke contain more 100 types of chemicals, as I said earlier, and it has therefore been classified as carcinogenic. The mutagenic potential of smoke changing the DNA, and that causes the effects on the operation theatre team and the surgeons. And a lot of bacteria, human papillomavirus, a lot of varieties, corona, hepatitis, and the list is going on and on with the latest research going. Now come to the Indian situation. Most of the surgeons are aware of the potential risk of surgical smoke to themselves, operation theatre team, and even the next patient. However, it is noticed that I have found that very few surgeons, hospitals are using any mechanism to disinfect this hazardous surgical smoke. While interacting with one-on-one with a lot of surgeons, I found hardly few percentage, maybe over 15% of the surgeons use some rudimentary method, that is passing this surgical smoke through sodium hypochlorite solution or even letting out directly in the operation theatre. This is very, very unsafe. So we need a smoke evacuation device which will disinfect this surgical smoke. What is a smoke evacuation device? It's a machine that inhales or takes the surgical smoke, disinfects using various mechanisms inside, filters it, and lets it out. For minimally invasive surgeries, the trocar is connected to such device, and for open surgeries, a special holder, something called clip-on or cautery pencil holder, is used for resting the cautery pencil and used to coagulate cut tissues, dissect the tissues, and at the same time connected to the smoke evacuation device by rubber tubing. In India, there are a lot of surgical smoke evacuation devices are available, basically imported. And those are in the price range of 6 to 10 lakh rupees. Also given as a freebie with some other major products. But the point is not that. Point is not a buying cost, initial cost of acquisition. But the problem is here, the replacement cost of the filters, which one need to replace every 40 to 60 hours. The average price ranges between 35 to 60,000 rupees for the set of a filter. So, typically it costs about 1,000 rupees, 900 to 1200 in the range per surgery. And from Indian perspective, this is a very, very high cost. So, Medtronic, Ethicon, Arabic, ConMed, Olympus, Stryker, and so on, there are a lot of surgical devices surgical smoke evacuation devices are available. However, the problem here they're using is again that cost of the filtration and the frequent removal and frequent replacement of those filters, which is an expensive affair for the surgeons and the OR team. Now for laparoscopic surgery, per se it is easy to collect the smoke because it directly comes from a tube. It is easy to collect. But for open surgery, there is a challenge to collect the smoke. So minimally invasive surgeries, the trocar end is connected with some simple silicone tube and the smoke is collected and disinfected, can be disinfected, although it is not done at many places. But in open surgery, one has to develop a special accessory which will absorb or suck the smoke, pass it through that itself, and then it will be connected to the surgical smoke evacuation device. So, coming to the problem of surgical smoke, there are all these manufacturers India is not able to afford, especially the times after Corona. I am working on this device pre-Corona, but especially during the Corona, a lot of surgeons are now really worried about this surgical smoke. But Corona and only that effect is not important from the surgical smoke evacuation perspective, because it is not only dangerous to the surgeon himself but to the operation theatre team and even to the next patient. Therefore, disinfection at site of this surgical smoke is of paramount importance, and India is now really working on how to develop such and similar devices. Thank you very much.